Hey, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the gift segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at New Life Ministries International.com and New Life International CDC.com, and those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube at Daily Divine Direction, we thank you for all of your support. We thank all of you for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So as you know, for all of our listeners and viewers, we are running our April promo, FijiWater.com sponsored promo, where one of our listeners and viewers will be able to be selected to win a case of Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, from FijiWater.com. Go to WKAPfaith.com every Monday through Saturday now this month from 12 p.m. Well, let me say this. We want you to stay connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But at 12 p.m. and at 6 p.m. or 12 p.m. or 6 p.m., Monday through Saturday, and 6 p.m. on Sundays, you can go to WKAPfaith.com. The first three songs you hear starting at 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time or at 6 p.m., the first three songs, list those songs, text them along with your name and email address to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. One of our listeners and viewers will be selected to win a case of Fiji Water from FijiWater.com. And I want to remind everyone that this is Holy Week for us. So we will be in revival at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809 on Thursday and Friday. Service begins at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday and Friday. And then, of course, we'll be back on our Sunday sermon. So you can tune in. We will be live streaming. You can tune in on Thursday. We will go live at New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope. We will go live at 7:10. And then we will, pardon me, I'm sorry. I misspoke. We will be going live at 7:10. We will be going live, and we will be done with service by 8 p.m. So we want you to stay tuned in. We want you to hear word from the Lord. We're going to be in revival to revive our spirits, to really get us into the mindset of the resurrection. And so tune in. Go to New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope. We will be in revival Thursday night, Friday night, and tune in on Sunday. Of course, if you're in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us. On Sunday, also at 10 a.m. service begins. If you're not in our area, you can tune in at 10:45 a.m. But we want you to be with us, and we want to be with you so that we can make certain that everyone has the opportunity to enhance and experience a better quality of life. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, we're going to get into a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. And I received some communications from people yesterday saying, it's really, that last communication where people where we talked about work-life balance, and you said you want to hear more about that. I'm going to get into that after I go through if we have time, after I go through the communications for today. But I'm aware you all want to hear more about work-life balance, so we'll certainly be getting into that a little further, because some of you said, well, I thought it was important for us to balance our lives and have some balance in our lives. There is no such unicorn, as I said yesterday. So I'll talk more about that as we move forward. But I'm going to address this communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. And you indicated that you really want to go into business for yourself. However, you are not certain if you are ready. You want to know what steps should you take to prepare yourself. So let me first and foremost say, this is a great question. And for all of our listeners and viewers who have an entrepreneurial spirit or might desire to go into business, and there's so many different sectors of business that we can pursue, but we have to realize and understand there are steps necessary to prepare yourself. And first and foremost, you've got to prepare your state of mind. And let me start off there. And this is going to take a little time, so that's the reason I said I'll get into work-life balance a little later if we have time today. But this is really important because so many people often say they want to go into business. They don't want to work for someone else the rest of their lives. They don't want to, there's a lot of reasons that people say that. But I need to break this down today when I talk about the state of mind, because, I've addressed entrepreneurship for others in the past, but I need to start here. You have to go into business with the right state of mind. And let me explain to all of our listeners and viewers what that means. First and foremost, you have to understand why you're going into business. If you're going to go into business, you have to know that you either offer goods or services, you have a product or services that is going to impact our society or enhance the quality of life for our society. You don't go into business just because you don't want to work for someone else. You don't go into business because you think it's going to give you more time off. You don't go into business because you think it's going to make you a ton of money, because those are all the wrong reasons for going into business. You have to go into business with the mindset that I have a product that I've developed, or I'm selling a product that is on the market, but I have a better method of selling it and reaching more people so that it will enhance the quality of life. Or I'm offering a service that's going to impact our society. Those are the reasons for going into business. Now, if you do good work, the money will come. Money is just part of the way of keeping score. It's part of the way of being able to continue to develop. It's, research and development. It's part of the way of being able to create an innovative society. But at the end of the day, whatever you're going to do when you're in business, it has to impact our society or enhance the quality of life for others. Now, you might say, well, how does a retail store enhance the quality of life for others? Well, people like different retail products. And at the end of the day, you may give them a better retail experience. People want to be treated fairly, and they want to be treated well. Customers are looking for a customer experience. They're not looking for someone to just, cram something down their throat or push something on them that they don't need. But if you offer something that's going to make the quality of life more pleasant, that's a good business. Now you have to create a business experience. If you're going to go into business, one of the things you're going to have to do is research. It will require you to do a significant amount of research so that you understand what's going to be my market. Well, let me say this. What are my demographics? That's one of the things you have to understand in business. Who am I targeting? It's funny, my wife and I had a conversation this morning. We were talking about, the supply chain. We were talking about retailers. And, one of the comments that we, discussed was Target, the name Target. And I need you to understand this. Is the reason it's such a strong market, a strong brand, is because they target consumers with a purpose. What are we going to supply the masses so that we, pardon me, allergies are high. We had a beautiful day here yesterday in our area. It was picture perfect. So they're targeting consumers with products that they truly believe are going to make the quality of life more pleasant. So you've got to do your research. You've got to know your demographics. You've got to know what market share you're going to capture based on the business you're going to enter. So state of mind first, research secondly, and then you have to decide the experience you're going to create. Customer, consumer experience. What are you going to do that is going to impact our society? Or what are you going to do that's going to provide a customer and consumer experience that is going to make the quality of life more pleasant for your customers? That has to be part of you researching the market. And then you have to decide how much capital you're going to have to invest in the business to develop the business and grow the business. You have to decide that. You have to really develop a strategic plan. You have to develop a business plan, a strategic plan, and a strategic implementation plan. Because it's great to have a strategy, but if you don't implement correctly, you're not going to have an impact. And at the end of the day, business is all about impact and experience. And I know I'm making it very simple, but I'd have to walk you through a Wharton School of Business course to give you every nuance of business. There's a psychological aspect of business. There are so many different aspects to business. You've got to do your research. You've got to determine your impact. You've got to determine the cost of customer acquisition. That's all going to be part of your market research and your implementation strategy. There are going to be some crossovers. But that's the point of business. In business, you have to be driven and focused. You've got to really be focused. And that's why I mentioned my wife and I were having a conversation, and Target came up in that conversation, because you've got to be targeting strategically. You've got to be focused on the bullseye, for lack of a better term. And then you've got to be nimble. You've got to be able to move with the ebbs and flows of business. And then you have to realize that it's going to take the right attitude. So you got to have the right attitude for business, because you can't allow the customer to have a positive experience, and then you have a negative experience that then doesn't lead to you being completely focused on your day-to-day business operations. Then you've got to identify the categories and find your strengths and weaknesses, your opportunities and your threats. So you've got to certainly have to do a SWOT analysis, but you're going to have to, and you're going to have to look at these additional components. You've got to look at your attitude about business. You have to look at the customer attitude about your business. You have to look at your behavior. Are you going to put in the necessary hours to be successful? In other words, you've got to know that if you have people working for you who are putting in a 10-hour business day, administration, development, management, marketing, operations. You've got to know your business day has to be longer than that, because you have to be the first one in, so take an hour for that, and the last one out. Take an hour for that. That's a 12-hour business day for a business owner. And then you have, not to mention the fact that you've got all these moving parts that you're constantly thinking about. You wake up in the morning thinking about what you have to do, what you are going to do, how you're going to implement it. You've got to think about, employees. You've got to think about every aspect of the business consistently. So that's where your life is going to be focused. You're not going to, certainly when you go into business, you're not going to be going into business with the thought process, I'm going to get more time off. That's not going to happen. And people who think that way they don't need to go into business. They only think they do. They want to go into business. And the reason they want to go into business is because they don't want to work for someone else. They think they'll have more time to themselves. You don't have more time for yourself when you are a business owner than you do when you're working for someone else. When you're working for someone else, you have scheduled, structured hours. When you are in business, you are the one scheduling the hours and the structure, creating the culture. So you have to have the right attitude. You have to have the right business behavior. You have to be totally committed. And you have to be diligent about every aspect of your business and your success. Because there's people depending on you to get out of bed every day. Your success is predicated on whether or not you're there to serve them. You have employees who are depending on you to get out of bed every day so that they can take care of their families. You have customers who are depending on you to get out of bed every day so that you can serve them. You are not going to have more time just because you decided to go into business. Not if your business is going to be successful. So you have to really, and then you have to take on a spirit of excellence. And you know what a spirit of excellence really is? How can I start, develop, and succeed in business long term? Not just today. Not just a year from now. Not just 3 years from now. Not just 5 years from now. Not just 7 years from now. If you're going to do, not just 10 years from now, if you're going to do an IPO and cash out. You got to be thinking the long term, because that's what it requires in business. So I know this took a little more time today, but I only scratched the surface with everything I just shared. There is so much work and responsibility when you become a business owner. Now, after you have looked at all of those components and after you've developed your business plan and your strategic plan and your strategic implementation plan, then you can start deciding, are you prepared to go into business? But don't be afraid. I will encourage every entrepreneur, don't be afraid to go into business, because we all have something to offer. But what we have to decide is, do we have something to offer as a business owner, or do we have something to offer as an employee who can make a business stronger that will make our society better? Or at very least, make the experience of life more pleasant for the masses in our society. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your sister believes that she can get men to do whatever she wants them to do because you said she's extremely attractive. Well, she said she thinks she's extremely attractive and has an amazing body. And you said she definitely is everything physically that she believes that she is. Okay. Your problem and your concern for her is what we all know to be true, and that is that beauty is fleeting. So here's the reality. Okay, so your communication was actually very interesting and humorous in some aspects. When you said your sister has an incredible body and she's extremely attractive. You said that. And she says it over and over too, but she says she knows she's drop dead gorgeous. She knows that. That's a problem in itself. Because it's fine to be confident, but when you think you can manipulate men because you've got all that going on and it's all natural, you are, and I don't mean you're an attractive woman, but you said you really don't hold a candle to your sister. You can't, you said that, and that's okay. But your personality makes you more attractive. So first of all, just think about that. The fact that you've acknowledged that her beauty, that means you're not a hater. You're concerned, and that's a good thing because that's your sibling. But here's the reality. All of that she's got going on right now, it's fine now. Someday, that's all going to change. Someday, and I get it. There, people can go under the knife and make some adjustments and get plastic surgery or whatever, but it looks plastic. Now, some people they get a surgeon that looks real, makes it look real good, but they're far and in between. The reality is beauty is fleeting. It's fleeting. Every day, the beauty is getting a little further away from her. Body's great. You can work out and work on that. She knows what she's got going on. But the problem is the kind of men you're going to attract. And as she gets older and that beauty is fleeting, and I know you said in your communication you're going to have her tune in. So now I'm going to address you. And I'm going to say this to you. It's great that you're beautiful. It's great that you've been, beautifully and wonderfully made. That's great. But now you got to be careful. You're trying to manipulate men. Men are trying to manipulate you. So you've got to be careful. What you put out is what you're going to attract. So you'll be the flavor from month to month. But the problem is when you lose your taste, you're not the flavor anymore. And what I mean by that is, as you get older and start to age out, there's always going to be someone else to. First of all, you are, and according to your sister, you're in that 1% of the population that's not only beautiful face, beautiful body. Okay. But God looks at the heart. God looks at the inner image because beauty is fleeting. So, you might only have to compete with the other segment of the population that fits in 1%. But I gotta keep it real with you. There are beautiful women in this world, but as you get older, the beauty's going to fade, and as men get older, guess what? We've seen them all. We've seen some of the most beautiful women on the planet. We don't really focus on the outside as much. I mean, granted, we don't want women being run down and rode hard and put up wet. We want women to take care of themselves. We want to take care of ourselves the best we can. But we're not sold on that package anymore. The content, what's on your inside. First of all, what's in your mind and what's on your mind. You know, that's important. Then the total package becomes important because, you know, men are visual creatures. But let's keep it real. All that you got going on right now isn't going to last. It's not going to last for you, and it's not going to last for the men. Because as men get older, let me help you out. It's more about the content of the heart. And sure, you want to enjoy one another, but I'm just keeping it real with you. Men are going to be, because now men are going to start looking at you and believing they got to compete with every other man who's looking at you also. But as we continue to get older, we've pretty much seen it all. We've seen the most beautiful women in the world, and we've seen the average woman. And one of the things that we learn as we mature is that the woman who has character, beauty, brilliance, character, integrity is more important than the woman that everybody else is still chasing. So I just want to encourage you to know, and I'm glad your sister had you tune in today, and hopefully you'll continue watching the Daily Divine Direction 3D, because we are always giving what God has given for you to hear. Keep taking care of yourself. That's a good thing. Now you want to take care of your spirit. Don't focus on just the outer, work on the inner also. Because that's what good men, godly men are looking for. You'll catch the rest, and they'll catch you too. And then they'll throw you back because they're looking for the next big fish. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything that a man could possibly need. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And Porsche America. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. If you're in the market for a high-performance automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com. You will have the opportunity to virtually build out the type of Porsche you desire to own. And if you're in our area, you can just simply go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Didio, who is the general manager of PorscheDelaware.com. He will make certain that someone assists you in selecting the Porsche you desire to own. And if you currently own a Porsche and are just in need of service, go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Adams, who is the service manager. He will make certain that an appointment is scheduled for you. They pick up your vehicle at your home or office, drop a loaner vehicle to you, and return your vehicle to you when service has been completed at PorscheDelaware.com. So I want everyone to remember and go to our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. We are in the midst of our April promo. FijiWater.com sponsored promo. 12 noon or 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, the first 3 songs that are played, list those songs along with your name and your email address. Text them to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1037. 1424, Monday through Saturday, and 6 p.m. on Sunday. You will have the opportunity for one of our listeners and viewers to win a case of Fiji water from FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. As always, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. Have a great day today. God bless you. And we look forward to you staying connected with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year through our internet radio station, WKAP, Faith Empowerment Radio at WKAP.